Welcome back to Inside Politics. Today our guest is Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally. We're talking about the beginning of the second session of the 110th General Assembly. Governor McNally, we talked about the change in the legislature. One big change that people may not know unless they go up to the Hill or see it on TV. You're in new digs. You have new offices. You have new committee rooms that you didn't have before. You're in the Caldwell Hall building. What's been the reaction that you had and your members have had about being in those new digs?
Well, they're excited about it, and I think they're pleased. I think the public is pleased because there's a lot more access to the legislature by the public. We have additional committee rooms. We have additional conference rooms where groups that come to the legislature, like Leadership Knoxville, some of the leadership groups, some of the student groups can meet and talk to their legislators as a large group instead of being kind of confined to a very small office and half of them out in the hall.
So the state would have made a big mistake had it torn the Caldwell Hall building down, which looked like was going to happen a couple of years ago.
It would have. It would have.
So also one of the changes that's being made this time, and you and Speaker Harwell have decided to do this, you are allowing those who have gun permits to be able to bring their weapons into the legislative area where the offices are and the committee rooms are, not up on the Hill.
Correct.
But you're not allowing people to bring in signs and posters, which they've been doing the last couple of years. Those are two constitutional rights. It would seem on the one hand, Second Amendment rights for guns are being recognized and expanded, but First Amendment rights to bring signs will not be?
I think we've modified, very recently, have modified the sign ordinance in other words that people can bring signs as long as they're not on a big stick or something like that. And this was just recently. We initially put out the rules and then went back and took another look at some of the things and modified that.
Had there been a safety issue with them being on signs, or did lawmakers just find them kind of annoying in a lot of cases, especially what they said?
Being on signs?
Yeah.
I don't think there was a safety issue with the signs. There is an issue.
So putting them on sticks, why is that being banned?
Well, because people can be hit with the sticks and harmed with the sticks.
Have they been hit? Have you had a problem with that in the last couple of years?
Not to my knowledge, I don't think we have. But in other protests, they have used sticks. But and also we want to make sure that people have access and can see what's going on, so that I believe we do have limits as to the size of the signs that can be brought in.
One other, you have even more perhaps historic change coming, not just this year in the legislature in terms of your membership, but in terms of next year. There's been some talk you can have as many as 9 of the 33 members not there that have been there in the last, well, they're here last year, won't be here come 2019. You see some of this going on in Washington with more retirements and people deciding to run for other offices or do that than I've seen in the past. What's that all about? Do lawmakers both here and in Washington no longer happy with being in the lawmaking, in the legislative situation? What's making all this change
all the
happen
change? Like I'm not really sure. Part of it is that there are new opportunities, and you know, we had Doug Overby go to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Mark Norris is proposed as a judge. We have some people that are running for mayors. The legislative pay is right around 23, the base salary, and there's you know, a judge's pay or a mayor's pay is a lot better.
So is it time to adjust legislators' pay? Legislators in Tennessee were always looked upon as being part-time jobs, even though they have full-time responsibilities. But is it time to raise those pay to keep good people in those jobs rather than be tempted to go to these other positions?
It could be. That could be one outcome. And I think, you know, the leadership will probably be meeting on things like that.
It's an election year. Would you want to bring that up and start debating legislation like that this year?
It'd be much better that we study it this year, find out fully the impact is.
You mentioned Senator Norris. He's the majority leader. He's being up for a district judgeship in Washington. He told some colleagues this week that he wasn't sure he was going to be confirmed by the Senate, because even though there's 51 votes for Republicans up there, that he's not sure he's going to be able to keep that. And he's been sort of, I think, surprised, if not shocked, at what he's seeing in terms of the hyper-partisanship in Washington. Are you a little bit disappointed and shocked to hear Senator Norris say that he has doubts about his ability to be confirmed?
Well, I think he'll eventually be confirmed. I think it's a very, he had some things in his process that were not that were beyond his control. There were some documents that were lost and things like that, and so he was delayed in that manner. And it's it's Washington's timetable. It's up to them, and they move at a different speed than we do in Tennessee. So it's a little difficult getting used to, but I think eventually he'll be confirmed. He's a fine senator. We'll miss him. If we lose him, we'd like to keep him, but we know he'd make an excellent judge.
Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally is our guest on Inside Politics. Our conversation with him continues after this break.